Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I am putting together my bookshelves and doing a bookshelf organization tour. Organization probably doesn't fit. I'm doing a bookshelf tour. Is it organized? Not really, but if you don't already know, I moved into a new apartment and I had taken down my shelves, packed up all my books and whatnot, so now I'm going to do the opposite of that. Okay, so I'm almost done setting up the new apartment. Last thing that I really need to do is put my bookshelves together, so that should be fun. And I've been asked to do like a bookshelf tour and whatnot, so I'm going to sort of do that. Y'all know that I don't really do vlogs, it's not my thing, but we'll see how it goes. So here are my bookshelf pieces. Over here we have all of my books, and actually some of them are in that ugly little suitcase over there. It's my stepmom's suitcase, and its purpose now is just to transport books. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. All right, so while I'm putting my shelves together, I got myself an iPad recently and I started listening to Sweet Hand. I really like it. Well, I really like it now. I didn't love the love interest at first. I realized that while I love enemies to lovers, there are some instances or elements of it that I don't really like. That might have to be a whole separate video. I think I have about 2 hours left, so maybe I can finish that while I'm doing this.
And I'm still breathing, staring at my thoughts filling up to the ceiling. I'm swimming in everything you said. I'm thinking about jumping in it instead. I got you skinny dipping deep inside my head.
It's in the way you see, you know what I need. It's in the way that you're holding me, bringing me close. You know that I won't let go. You got me on repeat. You got me in a dream. I let my worries go soon as you come through the door. Thinking about what it'd be like to be yours.
Every time you move, you're looking like you're dancing. I think that you could have it. Everything you do, I wanna do it with you. Don't ever wanna miss you.
Okay, shelves are assembled. I was thinking about putting one on the other side of the TV, but I don't think I can because the outlet is closer to the wall there. So I might just leave them side by side like this. Now I just have to unpack all of my books and...
It's in the way you touch me. I don't know much about love, but I keep on checking my phone to see when you're home or when you want me to pull up. But one and the same, you got me caught in the days. I love it when you say.
Okay, so I've put up my shelves 2 days ago. Now I'm gonna go through how I organize them, what books I have, and whether or not I have read them yet. I also wanted to let you know that I did finish Sweet Hand, gave it 4.5 stars. It was a fun read. The beginning was a little rocky, but I feel like maybe that's how I feel about most romances. That's something to think about later. I like the way it ended. I like the characters. I'm excited to continue the series. And I like that this is the first thing that I read that takes place in Trinidad and Tobago, so that was pretty cool. Definitely recommend if you have not read it yet. But let's get into the books. Starting off on the top shelf of my right bookcase, we have my romance shelf, getting to a point where I might need to extend it to 2 shelves. Who would have thought that ever happened? Starting with the 2 books on top. First, we have The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I have not read this one yet, but I am excited to read it. I have not yet read anything by this author. Then I have A Sweet Mess by J.C. Lee. Also not one that I have read or that I've heard many people talk about, so I hope I enjoy it. Then I have the first 2 books in the Kiss Quotient series by Helen Wong. I really enjoyed the Kiss Quotient, one of my favorites of this year. I have not yet read The Bright Test, but hope to soon. Then I have the first 2 books in what I think is called the Spoiler Alert series. I have read Spoiler Alert, I enjoyed it. I have not yet read All the Feels, and I requested an arc of the 3rd book, Shipwrecked, but I haven't heard back yet. Then I have the Right Swipe trilogy by Alicia Rai. I've only read the first book, but I really enjoyed it and think that I will like the rest of the series. Next is the first two books in the Boyfriend Project series by Farah Rashan. I have read both of these, as well as the third one that just came out called The Hookup Plan. I enjoyed most of the series. Second book was a little iffy for me. The Trouble with Hating You by Sajni Patel is the first in the duology. I have not yet read the sequel, but I do have the ebook. This is the Reluctant Royal series by Alyssa Cole. This includes 3 novels and 2 novellas. I've read all of them and enjoyed them all. And last but not least, I have the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert. These are the Illumicrate special editions. I loved all of these so much, and I really like Talia Hibbert as an author. Moving on to the top shelf of my left bookcase. First is the collector's edition of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I love this duology so much. I love this one more than Crooked Kingdom, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get the collector's edition of that one. Upon a Burning Throne by Ashoke K. Banker. This is book 1 in the Burned Empire saga, one of my favorite adult fantasies of all time. The Devabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. Loved the first book so much. Second one was good, third one, not so much, but I would definitely reread. The Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. Loved all 3 of these. All of them received at minimum a 4.75 star. These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. I've read the first one. I enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars. Haven't read the second one yet, but am planning to buddy read it with Dasha. Firekeeper's Daughter. I have not yet read this, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. And the same can be said for The Final Strife. Moving down one shelf, this is what I'm going to call my Black Girl Magic shelf. I've read everything here except for anything to the right of Skin of the Sea. Raybearer and Redemptor make up the Raybearer duology by Jordan E. Fueco. Raybearer is one of my favorite books of all time. I will always recommend this series to people. These are my Illumicrate special editions of Raybearer and Redemptor, which were gifted to me by Dasha. And these are the figurines that came with these special editions. We have Kira, Tarisai, Sanji, and Ekendayo. A Song of Wraiths and Ruin and A Psalm of Storms and Silence by Roseanne A. Brown. Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. Cover's really shiny, so I had to move it. This Poisoned Heart by Kaylin Bayron. Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. And Daughters of Jubilation by Carolee Corthran. Moving back over to the right shelf, I wanted this to be a fantasy shelf, but I have a lot of incomplete series, so it's a little bit all over the place. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I have not yet read this. The first 2 books in the Burning Kingdoms trilogy. I have read The Jasmine Throne. I have not yet read The Oleander Sword. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I haven't read this yet. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I have read this and I loved it. I have read both Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I have not read The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. I've read the entire Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman, but I only have book 1. I have not yet read Fury Born. I have read the entire Greenbone saga. I have Jade City and Jade War, and they don't match. Howl's Moving Castle series by Diana Wynne Jones. House of Many Ways is the sequel to Howl's, and Castle in the Air is a companion novel. And the first 2 volumes of Spy Family. Moving on down to the next shelf. You Know You Want It by Carla Robinson. Carla is a good friend of mine, and I really enjoyed this book. Another book by Carla is Darkness Is Mine. I've not yet read this one. The first 2 books in the Trading Secrets trilogy. I have read Trading Secrets. I started Risky Assets, but haven't finished yet. My Own Words by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I have not started this yet. I have not yet read Girl in Trouble, or Good Girl's Guide to Murder, or You. These are the first 2 books in the Tea to Rosie's Kitchen Cozy Mystery series. I have read Arsenic and Adobo. I have not yet read Homicide and Hollow Hollow. I have not read The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali, or Handbook for a Post-War America. Actually, I don't think I've read anything on the rest of the shelf yet. Anger is a Gift, They Never Learn, The One, Homegoing, A Stranger in the House, Death, The Book Thief, and then these 2 are book-themed recipe books. The Book Lover's Cookbook, which has a bunch of recipes that have been featured in books, and then Tequila Mockingbird is a book of cocktails. Moving back to the hardcover shelf, I have read everything to the left of A Song Below Water. Iron Widow, Ilatsue, The Hunger Games Trilogy, 4 Dead Queens, They Both Die at the End, The Only Good Indians, and Hood Feminism. A Song Below Water, the first in a duology. Grown, Witches Steeped in Gold is also the first of a series. Slay, I Can Make This Promise, Cemetery Boys, Dear Martin, Dear Killer, and 3 Dark Crowns, also the first in a series. Moving down again, here are 3 hardcovers by Jodi Picoult that I have not yet read. Daughters of Enri and Descendants of the First. I've read the first book so far. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say now that I have not yet read anything else on this shelf. The Night Swim, Black Leopard, Red Wolf, Take My Hand, You Got Anything Stronger is Gabrielle Union's second memoir. The Guest List, Wings of Ebony, Little Thieves, The Darker Shades trilogy by V.E. Schwab, and the first 2 books in the Wayward Children series. Back to the paperbacks, I'm not going to pull all of these out because this shelf is only Jodi Picoult and Tess Gerritsen. For the Jodi Picoult books, I've read Leaving Time, Harvesting the Heart, Perfect Match, and House Rules. I've not yet started the Rosolian Isle series at all, and honestly, these aren't even all in order. I'm also missing 1 or 2, but I lined them up so the heights were in order. I don't know why there's not a standard size for mass market paperback. This is the final shelf on my paperback shelf, and I'm not gonna take these out because at this point I'm just holding the ringlet itself. I've detached it from the tripod. I have read everything on this shelf, starting with Ijito all the way to the left by Carlos Andres Gomez. He is my favorite spoken word artist. The 5th Season trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. We Hunt the Flame is the first in the Sands of Araria duology. Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, Sadie by Courtney Summers, Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, The Couple Next Door by Shari LaPena, Pride by E.B. Zavoy, Sticks and Stones by Santana Blair, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, Women, Race, and Class by Angela Y. Davis, The Sun and Her Flowers and Milk and Honey by Ruby Carr, Passing by Nella Larson, and then behind the little Drexel block, I have Animal Farm by George Orwell and Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And finally, on this last shelf, I have The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. I have not yet read that. Everything else here I have read. The Chestnut Man, which is about a serial killer. It Starts With Food is a book I read before I did Whole30 for the first time. We're Going to Need More Wine is Gabrielle Union's first memoir. And then out of these 3 books by Jodi Picoult, Small Great Things and A Spark of Light are my favorites. Lone Wolf was also pretty good. And lastly, I have Becoming by Michelle Obama. So that is my bookshelf tour. That was a lot of work, but it was kind of fun. Will it be fun to edit? Probably not, but that was my bookshelf tour. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have read any of these or if any are on your TBR. If there are ones that I have not read that you really think I should get to as soon as possible, let me know. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.